Good morning, buenos dias. This is Tamara Sweeney from Love Dominates, and today is November 6th, 2022, and it's my oldest son, Dylan Michael Sweeney. It's his birthday today, so I want to wish him a happy birthday, and I want to give him the best present I can possibly give, and it's going to be filled with Agape Love. So, Dylan, for your birthday gift, I want to give you the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been doing it all along, but this is specifically for you. So I hope you listen to this to the end. Hopefully it won't be blocked or destroyed. Anyway, I do wish you the best birthday, and that's the holler monkeys. I'm in the jungle, I'm sorry. I want to give you the best love, the best role modeling as a parent, which I've been doing since the day I was forced out. But I was up last night and I took some notes, so I'm just going to go ahead and read it. So, like I said earlier, for your birthday, Dylan, my gift to you is the truth. I've interviewed many individuals that are over 50, 60, 75 years old, and they're just figuring out the lie that they have lived and the guilt that they have now for supporting the one parent who caused all the pain and suffering. All of them said that they wish they knew the truth. And why didn't that rejected parent tell me their side of the story? They didn't know is a typical response that they believed. They didn't know, quote, is a typical response from an alienated child or an alienated adult child. They believed in the lie from the alienated parent. So the one that they were aligned with and lived with until they were an adult is the one that they believed in. And that is the person that was lying to them all along. So Dylan, I have truly apologized in the past, and I'll apologize right now for being young, for being in love, for being naive, and trusting of others. I was very trusting of others because I have an empathetic heart, and who I am is half of you. So I know inside of you, deep, deep down, you have a good soul. You have a good heart. You're half of me. I know it. But I apologize for jumping into a marriage to someone I really didn't know. I only knew him for 6 months. But I was in love. And never in a million years would I have thought that a man that I chose to marry and have children with would be my biggest enemy and would kidnap my children. Never in a million years would I believe that. I dreamt that I had a soulmate, that every time I touched their hands, I knew that there was a connection and that they would protect me and our children. But it wasn't that way. I was the one protecting you kids and myself in our home. My whole life was a lie, Dylan. My whole life. All it took was one lie from the very beginning of my relationship with your father, and it destroyed our whole family. And what I learned was I didn't do research on who your father was, where he came from, who his mother was, where her family came from. It's a little odd how we don't know anything about Marguerite's parents. I just know that she hated her mother and she adored her father. Those were her exact words. So that tells me that her father alienated her from her mother. So the same behaviors are being trickled down into our family, and your father's not strong enough to face the truth, to face his fears, to face his guilt. His ego is in the way. Listen, Dawn, I'm not pointing fingers or blaming others. I'm not. I'm stating facts about the people that are surrounding you. And they are negative people in your life. They have absolutely used you in the worst way. They used you as a weapon to destroy me, to destroy your mother, to break the bond that we had. Because I'm a dirty whore. That's what your father said. That's what he told you. That I am a slut. I'm a whore. I'm a bad parent. I'm a bad mother. These are the words of a very angry individual, a very angry man who grew up in a home where he could do no wrong. He was never held accountable for his actions, and he thinks he is above the law. He may be above this law, the government, because he joined into the corruption due to money, power, and ego. And what I mean by that, oh, sorry, I misspelled. What I mean by that, Dillon, is he is a member of secret societies, both Marguerite and your father. Sorry, I have these bugs flying around. My parents, your grandparents, Oma and Oda, who you were not allowed to talk to because they finally figured out what your father was doing. And since they supported me, you were cut off with Oma and Oda. And I know you remember, you had a great relationship with them. You loved them, and they loved you. Oma and Oda brought me up to with really strict rules, but not too bad to follow, just to know what's right and wrong, to have accountability, organizational skills, to tell the truth, to love one another. Oma and Oda did the best that they can in raising us, but they didn't know the big lie. They didn't know. They didn't know the truth. So where Oma and Oda failed as parents was they trusted the government. They didn't do their due diligence and research. They didn't have a reason to. But if they would have thought out of the box and questioned what was going on in the world, maybe we wouldn't have had some of these problems. They should have gone with their intuition instead of doing what everyone else is doing. They did exactly what they were told. You know, they went to school, high school, they went to college, they graduated, they got married, had children, had a job, paid their taxes. That right there is the biggest lie. They were living in the matrix. And living in the matrix is being a slave to the Nazi regime. I know this sounds a little bit nuts, but I have witnessed enough to be able to say this and bring out the truth. So I was indoctrinated as a child, just like you, to believe a lie, to believe in their beliefs. And society, schools, movies, entertainment brainwashed me even further to believe that Americans had the best life. Well, I'm here to tell you that Americans don't have the best life. We're basically guinea pigs living in a cage behind four walls. You know, we're so blessed to have a TV, video games, shops, grocery stores, retail stores, hospitals, doctors, therapists, police, etc. But that's not really living. That's not life. It's not what God had planned for us. God has a different plan for you. And God opened my eyes. Sorry about all these bugs. God had opened my eyes to the truth. I had to go through this trauma of parental alienation to see with my own eyes the evil and corruption caused by the people we worship or give credit to. And who I mean by that is the Pope, the judge, the lawyers, the therapists, people with a license. But I feel blessed, Dylan. I feel blessed in many ways that God chose me, because He has showed me how to live in the light, how to get out of the darkness, because being surrounded by alcoholism, by lies and darkness is not a good thing, and it's not healthy for you. So, I lost where I was. I would rather live in truth than a lie any day. Because when you find out your whole entire life was a lie, and then the person you married lied to you from the very, very beginning before I even had children. So this isn't your fault, Dylan. This is between your father and I, but your father won't communicate with me. The person that doesn't communicate, the person that cannot face me, who holds their eyes, holds their ears, holds their mouth when they see me, that is a sign of a guilty person. I am a witness, Dylan, to all this corruption of parental alienation, domestic violence, IPV, which is intimate partner violence. You have to learn these things. Court corruption, elderly abuse, conservatorship, guardianship, child abuse, child trafficking, human trafficking, hate crimes, and more. I'm a witness to what's going on. So Dylan, this leads me to your growing up. And I raised you since the day you were born, from the minute the doctors put you on my belly. I can't explain the love that I have for you. It's so overwhelming, Dylan. And I love all your siblings the same way. It might be a little bit different for Anya because she's a girl and you guys are boys, but it's still the same love. It's agape love. Agape love. So, you're growing up, I thought I was doing the best that I could, but I didn't realize I was in a circle of lies, a circle of chaos, a circle of gaslighting, manipulation, control. Okay, so what I wrote here, since the day you were born, you were loved by me, your mother, your only mother. You were loved by Oma and Oda and your cousins. I raised you practically alone as a single mother when I was married to your father. Your father was never around until the day I asked for separation or divorce. Which, think about that. He was gone for 6 weeks at a time. He never came home till it was your birthday when you turned 17. Then he started coming home. That was in 2012. So then all of a sudden he was home for good and never left? How can that be? So what was Dad actually doing all that time he was away, he had a secret life, Dylan, hiding money with grandma, shareholding with everybody, hedge funding, keeping me out of the loop, creating chaos for me so that I wouldn't find out who he truly was. We basically lived, when your dad came home, we lived in a fraternity-like style living. Sort of like how you're living now. When you guys get together, you play beer pong, you're drinking, everyone's getting high, you're partying like a college student. And this is what your dad did, and this is how he was able to reel you in, because you went from respecting me to all of a sudden hating me. And your dad wanted to destroy that bond between son and mom. Your father and your grandmother are only happy when they're drinking. They are full-blown alcoholics, and they only want people around them that drink. I wasn't drinking. I was exercising. I was in the top of my life with health, CrossFit. I was hated because I believed in homeopathic ways. I was hated because I was juicing. I was hated because I exercised. I was hated because I have blonde hair. I was hated because I was skinny or had white teeth or whatever. There is the 7 deadly sins out there. It's envy, jealousy, greed, money. Look them up. That's what happened with our family. People are drinking to hide their pain and their trauma. So your dad hasn't resolved whatever his childhood trauma is. I believe your father hates your mother because hates his mother because when we were together, he never wanted to talk to her on the phone because she was always drunk. She would always complain to him, and grandmom was having an affair with a married man for 25 years. And that was accepted by you guys. And that was accepted. I accepted whatever it was because she told me it was okay for the wife and it was all in agreement. But there's something out there, Dylan, that you haven't thought about. Why is Marguerite, why did she hate her mother? And why does she call herself the matriarch? And why does she treat Dad like a prince? She calls him the prince. He can do no wrong. The day I got married, she told me never to criticize her Tommy. And she also told me if I don't obey Tom, that he would go elsewhere. So there's a lot you don't know, Dylan. And I'm going to try to get this in as fast as I can. Dad and Grandmom still live the lifestyle of college students. They never grew up. And they're proud of it. They're proud of their drinking and partying, which is really weird. Once I was threatened to leave our house, Dylan, our home became the party house in the town of Royersford. You were in high school at Springford High School, and Dad's house, once I was thrown out, became the party house. And you were doing drugs. You were never held accountable. Think, Dylan, just think. Dad was never home. You used to say to me, why don't I have a dad like Jesse's dad? Do you remember Jesse Prager? Renee and Steve Prager? You wanted your father to be just like Steve Brager, because he was always home for his family and always going to sporting events. Your dad didn't. It bothered you. But I covered for your father, and I kept saying, Dylan, your dad loves you, and he's doing the best that he can. He's just working, and he can't be here. Because I would never, in a million years, divide our family like your father has. That never crossed my mind. And by the way, by me, I apologize for this, but by me sitting there telling you your father loved you, even though he wasn't around, that was wrong of me, because I was covering for your dad. And I wanted you to always know that both parents loved you. But think about this, Dylan. Would you ever marry someone and be away for 6 weeks and not come home? And, not be with the kids on their birthdays and holidays? It's not normal. If he loved me like he claims he did, he would have been home. He would have done anything to come home and be with his wife and his children. Instead, your father chose, well, he said he was working, but he wasn't working. Your dad had another life. He had other women. He had other beliefs, let's put it that way. He was in secret societies, and Grandmom was with him. Before you were even born, Dylan, Grandmom, your father, premeditated this. I was sought out by a couple called Dr. Steve Rislow and Jennifer Butler, and they put us together, and I believed in them. I never blamed them for putting us together, and I don't blame anyone. I fell in love with a narcissistic personality. I fell in love, and I don't like putting labels on people, Dylan, but I fell in love with someone who love-bombed me, who wanted my image and wanted me to have his children. That's it. He used me and married me so that I could be listed on his business as a shareholder and never collect on it, but I took all the debt. That's all your dad cared about, was having a woman and living in houses underneath my name, my credit. So, in all the houses that we had, everything was in my name, not your father's. Your father has done a lot of criminal activities, forgeries. There's like 31 indictments, and that's not even all of them. But your father has a criminal side. You may know it. He may be teaching you it. But this is your choice. You have a choice to do the right thing. You have a choice to be with both parents and love both parents. You have a choice to live in the light or live in the darkness. I chose the light and the truth, and I'm going to stay here. And I'm trying to save my children as much as I can, because you are surrounded in a narcissistic, criminal society. All they care about is money and power, and you're in the materialistic world. You're not in the God-given world. Look at this. I live in beauty. I have jungles. I have experiences on the water that I can't even explain. I had experiences in the air that I can't even explain. But I'm living God's plan for me, and that is to speak the truth and to spread agape love. Agape love. Anyway, let's see. I'm squatting down here, so I apologize. Okay, let's see. before you were born, Dylan, before you were born, I was being gaslit by Marguerite, my grandmom and dad. And it continues to this day, Dylan. Remember, Dad hired Elizabeth. Remember her from the Jersey Shore, from Stone Harbor? She was a psychic. He hired her to brainwash you, brainwash me, bring in more lies and drama, to gaslight us all. She had freaked us out about bad spirits in the house. Both of them had emotionally, psychologically abused all of us. All of us. The emotional and psychological abuse caused your young mind at the time, because you were only a teenager, to split. So your mind split when we were going through this divorce. All of you, meaning Dylan, Dalton, Anya, and Dustin. You went from an innocent, loving child to a young man who suddenly hated his mother and had to do what his father forced him to do. Or you wouldn't be part of his empire. You wouldn't be part of the business. You wouldn't be part of his manlyhood. So your father is mocking you, Dylan. He is using you. He controls you behind your back. You have no idea. You have no idea about your credit and how he steals identities. You have no clue. Or maybe you do, and you're okay with it. I wasn't. He still controls you, Dylan, even though you're going to be 28 years old. He's still controlling you and all his children. He used you to get Dalton, Anya, and eventually Dustin on your side. He used you as the golden child. The one, he put all the responsibility on you. So he didn't look bad to make all your other siblings hate me. For what, Dylan? What did I do that I deserve this treatment from you and your siblings for over a decade, to be alienated from a loving mother? What is your reason? What is it? Because every reason you came up with, I had a rebuttal. Think about that, Dylan. What did I do that deserves this treatment? You can't say I had an affair. Dad had an affair way before I went back to work and met Michael. So your dad was having affairs way before that even happened. And people have told me it's just a coincidence that this person sought me out. So this might have been all premeditated. I don't know. But I did nothing, Dylan, but love you and love all my children. And I'm not perfect, but I was a super mom. I had everyone saying, I can't do what you do in one month, and you do it in a day, because I was that super mom, and I cared about your health and your wellness. Your mind, your body, and your soul is what I was protecting. I raised you from birth, loved you, and taught you to do right from wrong, gave you life lessons, and held you accountable for doing wrong or harming others. I taught you the truth, to always tell the truth. Outsiders said that I wasn't strict enough, that I should have been more strict. But your father said I was a militant. That was his word. Because I had rules and responsibilities, and I held you accountable. Just because I told you to do your homework or to brush your teeth or make your bed doesn't mean I'm a bad mom. I mean, it's ridiculous. Dad had this all premeditated, like I said, and how he did this was he always said things in front of you. Did mom wake up on the wrong side of the bed? I never wake up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm the same person every day. I wake up with a smile. I just get my chores done, my list done, my to-do list, and that's it. He also used to say in front of you, did mom take her meds? I was never on any kind of medication, ever. I'm homeopathic. I don't even like taking Tylenol. So in other words, I never took pharma drugs. I was crucified by everyone, Dylan. Being healthy, eating organic, wanting to homeschool you guys, exercising. People just hated me because I was well liked. Sorry, my arm's getting tired of holding this, and I know this is long. I just want to say a couple more things. Everything I say here, Dylan, is the truth, and I have facts to back me up. So you can come to me and ask for the proof, because I have the proof. I've made a couple videos, I've made memes out there, where I have had the police, your dad used authority to bully me, to harass me, to get me to commit suicide. That's what they wanted. And I didn't. I'm still alive because I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor of this domestic family terrorism. Also, Dr. Chase, Nealon, he told me never, he told me to stay away from my children and to go live my life. What therapist is that who says that to somebody? So I can only imagine what these therapists were saying to you. They were probably telling you to stay away from your mother, that she's crazy, because that's the overall platform in this government. This is how things happen. Your dad bought this case, meaning he paid off the judges, he paid off the lawyers, he paid off the police department. Why did Dad always call the police when I would show up just to give you Easter gifts or to give you a graduation gift? Why did he call the police? The police aren't supposed to get involved in divorce matters, civil matters, but they were able to call me up and threaten me. Okay, remember that. Your dad threw me in jail to torture me so that he could steal everything from the house and move to Florida. So, Dylan, I have a lot of evidence. You have to really start thinking. Cognitive thinking. Going back to how you were raised, I remember there was times that you were asking me as a teenager, you probably were like 13, 14, saying, I want you to get a divorce. I'm tired of the yelling. And I'll tell you why I was yelling. I was sticking up for myself, Dylan, because Dad, when he came home, on the weekends that he came home, he would cause chaos, the drinking, the partying, everyone coming to the tiki bar. He would put you here. He made you the boss. He made you above a parent, where it's supposed to be mom, dad, united, and the children below. Instead, he made you the boss. He made dad the boss, and mom was undermined. Mom was demoralized. Mom was denigrated. So that there alone is wrong on so many levels. And he messed your head up by doing that. So Dad chose, instead of co-parenting with me and loving me and being united as parents, He chose to chummy up with his kids because he had ulterior motives. He wanted me out of the picture and for his kids to run his empire. Dad put you on a pedestal. He gave you extreme responsibilities as a child when you were just a teenager. I remember, Dylan, do you remember the text you sent me? You sent me a text saying, Mom, I'm going to make $10 million my first year with Dad. You'll never see that kind of money. He had you competing with me, Dylan. I didn't care about money, but you chose money over the love of your mother. And I have forgiven all of you for that. I've even forgiven your father because I want to go to heaven. Because the courts of heaven are the only things that matter. Because on Judgment Day, God is not going to sit there and say, oh, did you make a lot of money? Sure. Boom, you go to heaven. No. God's going to say, did you, Agape, love me first? Meaning, Dylan, you're supposed to love God first. And you're supposed to seek God. And God will tell you his plan for you. Because he has a plan for you. You're not supposed to be working. Not in this government. Not to be a slave to these elite individuals who are purely evil. Your dad would say to you, Dylan, you're more of an adult than your mother. What did he say? His exact words were, he said, you're the adult, Dylan, your mother's the child. That is so wrong. So wrong. Absolutely so wrong. He built you up and he manipulated you to go against me. And you and your brother were like his generals to go against me. So it was scary living in that house. I slept with one eye open because I didn't know if you guys were going to poison me. I didn't know what was going to go on. But it was safer for me to get out. And I walk on eggshells. This video could be the worst video ever. And I'm not here to cause any harm. I'm not here to create drama. I'm here to tell you the truth. And that's a blessing. That's a blessing. Living in that house was pure hell, Dylan. It was pure hell. Because everything I did, your father would undo. Everything I said, he went against me. Remember, I had you exercising and getting you ready because you wanted to be a lifeguard down the shore because number one, it was the highest paying job. It was, you would have so many experiences of learning first aid, saving people, and you